Ever sunk your hard-earned money into a truck thinking it's going to be your trusty sidekick for life, only to have the engine blow up faster than a cheap firecracker on the 4th of July? Or maybe you've got a rig that's been hauling loads, taking on back roads, and racking up miles for decades without so much as a hiccup. Today we're popping the hood to uncover the 5 worst and 5 best truck engines to own. I've spent hours digging through owner forms and poring over reliability data to separate the junkyard dogs from the true workhorses. Some of these engines will make you want to cry into your beer with repair bills that'd choke a horse, while others are pure legends, running strong past 500,000 miles like it's nothing. Whether you're hunting for your next pickup or just want to know if your old faithful is a keeper or a clunker, stick around. I'm going to break down what makes these engines tick or explode, and which trucks you'll find them in. First up, let's talk about the engines that'll have you on a first-name basis with your mechanic, and not in a good way. These are the 5 worst truck engines to own. Power plants so bad they've broken hearts and bank accounts from coast to coast. Let's kick this off with a real gut punch for Ford fans. The 6.4-liter Powerstroke diesel V8 stuffed into 2008 to 2010 Super Duty trucks. Like the F250, F350, and F450, Ford hyped this engine as the future of diesel power, more grunt, cleaner emissions, the whole 9 yards. But what they delivered was a straight-up disaster that left owners stranded and broke. This engine's a mechanic's dream and an owner's worst nightmare. One of the biggest headaches is oil dilution. Fuel sneaks past the piston rings and mixes with your oil, turning it into a useless sludge that can wipe out bearings and turbos faster than you can say tow truck. Then there's the exhaust gas recirculation, or EGR cooler. When it fails, and trust me it will, you've got coolant mixing with exhaust gases, spewing steam out your tailpipe. And don't even get me started on the twin turbos. They're known to fail without warning, leaving you on the side of the road with a repair bill that could hit $5,000 or more. There are owners who've sunk $10,000, sometimes $15,000, into fixing this engine before it even hit 150,000 miles. And with all the emissions junk, diesel particulate filters, regen cycles, if you're not running long hauls on the highway, you're just asking for trouble. Watch for white smoke pouring out the back, coolant disappearing like it's magic, or a turbo whine that sounds like a dying coyote. If you're looking at a used Super Duty from this era, do yourself a favor, run the other way unless you've got deep pockets or a spare engine sitting in the barn. Next up, we've got a real head-scratcher from Chevy, the 5.3-liter V8 with active fuel management, or AFM for short. You'll find this engine in Silverados, Sierras, Tahoes, and Suburbans from 2007 right on up to today. Now, the 5.3-liter small block is a legend in its own right, a true American workhorse. But when GM slapped AFM on it to save a few bucks at the pump, they turned a reliable beast into an oil-guzzling gremlin. AFM shuts down half the cylinders when you're cruising down the highway to save fuel. Sounds like a bright idea, right? Wrong. This system causes lifters to collapse, leading to misfires, rough running, and sometimes total engine failure quicker than a cheap spark plug. Worse yet, these engines burn oil like it's going out of style. Some owners report losing a quart every 1,000 miles. That ain't normal, not by a long shot. When the lifters go, you're looking at $3,000 to $5,000 to fix it. And if you don't catch the oil loss in time, you're heading straight for a seized engine and a tow bill. Keep an eye on your oil level every time you fill up at the station. If you hear a ticking noise coming from the valve covers or see a check engine light pop on for misfires, don't wait. Get it checked before you're stuck on the side of I-95. A lot of guys just delete the AFM system altogether, but that ain't a cheap fix either, and it might not be legal where you're at. If you're buying a used Chevy or GMC with this engine, make darn sure it's a non-AFM version, or be ready to babysit it like a newborn. Now, when Nissan teamed up with Cummins for the 5.0-liter V8 diesel in the Titan XD from 2016 to 2019, we all thought, heck yeah, Cummins reliability in a Nissan half-ton. I mean, Cummins is a name you trust, right? But this turned out to be a conundrum, a puzzle of problems that just didn't add up to the hype. This engine was supposed to be a game changer for Nissan, taking on the big dogs in the diesel market, but it's plagued by turbocharger failures, often giving out before 100,000 miles like a cheap lawnmower. The DF system, diesel exhaust fluid, throws codes like it's playing bingo, putting your truck into limp mode at the worst possible times, like when you're hauling a load through the back 40. And fuel economy, forget it, some owners get worse miles per gallon than the gas V8 in the same truck. Nissan ended up buying back a ton of these rigs under lemon laws because the problems were so bad, leaving owners high and dry. If you're looking at a used Titan XD, watch for check engine lights, loss of power, or a turbo whine that sounds like a wounded critter. Parts ain't cheap, and not every shop knows how to fix these oddball engines. If you want a Cummins, stick with a Ram where it belongs. This Nissan experiment is a hard pass for any man who values his time and money. Diesel in a half-ton truck sounds like a dream come true. Great mileage for your daily grind, solid torque for light hauling. But the Ram 3-liter EcoDiesel V6, found in Ram 1500s and Jeep Grand Cherokees since 2014, turned that dream into a pricey nightmare that'll have you cussing under your breath at the repair shop. This engine's got a laundry list of issues longer than a country mile, starting with the oil cooler and EGR cooler. When they fail, and they do, often before 100,000 miles, coolant mixes with oil, turning your engine into a milkshake that'll seize up faster than a rusted bolt in a rainstorm. Timing chain and cam gear problems ain't uncommon either, causing rattles and power loss at the worst times. And the emission system, it loves to throw codes, putting you in limp mode on the highway when you're miles from home. Some owners have had engines replaced under warranty, others got stuck with bills north of $8,000, more than some used trucks are worth. If you've got one of these, check your oil and coolant levels religiously, like you're checking the weather before a hunting trip. Look for any sign of mixing, milky oil, or a sweet smell from the exhaust. And if the check engine light pops on, don't ignore it, or you'll be thumbing a ride. This engine's a gamble, so buy a long warranty or steer clear altogether. Toyota's got a reputation for building engines tougher than a $2 steak, but this 3-liter V6, known as the 3VZ, is the black sheep of the family. Found in Toyota pickups, also known as Hilux in many parts of the world, 4Runners, and early T100s from 1988 to 1995, this engine broke a lot of hearts and a lot of bank accounts back in the day. And it still does today for anyone trying to keep one running. First off, it's underpowered as all get out, barely 150 horsepower, not enough to haul much more than a light trailer or a couple of deer stands. But the real killer is the head gasket. These things blow faster than a cheap tire on a gravel road, often before 100,000 miles, causing overheating and major damage that'll leave you cussing on the shoulder. Toyota even issued a recall back in the day, but a lot of trucks never got fixed, and the problem persists on survivors. Add in oil leaks and timing belt woes, and you've got a recipe for roadside regret that'll make you wish you bought a Ford instead. Keep that temp gauge in sight, fellas, like you're watching a buck in the brush. White smoke, coolant loss, or a sweet smell from the exhaust means trouble's brewing. If you're shopping for an old Toyota, hunt for the 22R or 22RE instead. The 3VZ just ain't worth the heartbreak, no matter how cheap that old rig looks on Craigslist. Alright, enough of the horror stories that'll make you want to sell your truck for scrap. Let's talk about the engines that have built legends, powered cross-country hauls, and kept going long after the paint's faded and the rust has crept in. These are the 5 best truck engines to own, power plants you can trust to get the job done, mile after mile, year after year. Let's dive into the good stuff. If there's one engine that's as American as apple pie, baseball, and a cold beer on a Friday night, it's the Chevrolet small block V8, especially the 5.3-liter variant. You'll find this beast in Silverados, Sierras, Tahoes, Suburbans, and a whole mess of other GM rigs from 1999 right up to today. And let me tell you, when it ain't saddled with that pesky AFM system we talked about earlier, it's an ironclad winner that'll keep on trucking through just about anything. This engine's been around the block, literally, and it's got the battle scars to prove it. With a cast iron block in most truck applications, push rod simplicity, and decades of tweaks under GM's belt, the 5.3-liter can hit 300,000 miles or more with just basic care. It's got plenty of grunt, up to 355 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque, for tow jobs, hauling lumber, or just cruising Main Street on a Saturday night. Parts are cheaper than a burger at the local diner, and every mechanic from here to Texas knows how to wrench on one. It's the kind of engine you can pass down to your boy when he's old enough to turn a key. Keep it running by changing the oil every 5,000 miles, watching for intake manifold leaks, and ignoring any temptation to skimp on maintenance. Stick with non-AFM versions if you can, or disable it if you've got one. Watch for a little oil consumption on higher mileage units, but otherwise, this engine will outlast most of the truck around it, guaranteed. Owners have pushed these past 400,000 miles, still running strong enough to tow a boat to the lake. Now let's talk about a little engine that could and does time and time again. The Toyota 22R Inline 4, found in Toyota pickups and 4Runners from 1981 to 1997, is the unbreakable underdog of the truck world. It ain't got a lot of power, topping out at just over 100 horses, but what it lacks in muscle, it makes up for in pure, stubborn grit that'd make any old-timer proud. With a cast iron block, aluminum head, and a timing chain built to last longer than a good pair of work boots, the 22R is damn near impossible to kill. These engines hit 300,000, 400,000, even 500,000 miles, running through mud, dust, and neglect like it's nothing. They're simple to fix. Heck, you can damn near rebuild one with a socket set in your driveway. And parts are still everywhere and cheap as a six-pack. They'll run on just about any gas you throw at them, making them perfect for those back road hauls where the nearest station's a county over. Maintenance is a breeze, change the oil when you're supposed to, check the timing chain guides now and then, and don't let it overheat. That's about it. There are stories of ranchers out west who've kept these running for 30 years, using them to haul feed and fence posts without a single major repair. If you're looking for a truck that'll outlast your grandkids, hunt down a Toyota with a 22R under the hood. It's the kind of rig you can trust when the going gets tough. If you're a guy who needs to tow the world, whether it's a fifth-wheel trailer, a boat, or a whole barn's worth of gear, the GMC Duramax 6.6-liter V8 diesel is your kind of engine. Found in heavy-duty Silverados and Sierras since 2001, this titan of torque has been hauling across America for over 2 decades, earning its stripes on job sites and long hauls alike. The Duramax is overbuilt, plain and simple, with a cast iron block, aluminum heads, and a fuel system that's tougher than a grizzly bear. Early models had some injector hiccups back in the day, but GM sorted that out quicker than a pit stop at Daytona. With proper care, these engines hit 400,000 to 500,000 miles like it's just another day on the road. They've got torque for days, up to 910 pound-feet in later models, enough to pull a house off its foundation. And the aftermarket support is huge if you want to beef them up even more. Known fellas who've towed 20,000 pounds cross-country with a Duramax and never missed a beat. Keep it running with regular oil changes, fresh fuel filters every 15,000 miles or so, and a little love for the injectors. Watch for water pump leaks or early injector issues on pre-2024 models, but otherwise, just drive the darn thing. It's built to take a beating and keep on going. One buddy of mine's got a 2005 Silverado HD with over 450,000 miles on the original Duramax. Still hauls his excavator like it's brand new. If you need a diesel that'll go the distance, this is your pick. When it comes to diesel engines, one name stands taller than a Texas oil rig, Cummins. The 6.7-liter turbo diesel inline 6, found in Ram 2500 and 3500 trucks since 2007, is a torque monster that just won't quit. Built like a tank with a cast iron block and head, a gear-driven cam that laughs at timing belts, and a high-pressure common rail fuel system, the 6.7L Cummins is engineered to hit 500,000 miles with regular maintenance, and many do. It churns out up to 420 horsepower and a mind-blowing 1,075 pound-feet of torque in newer models, enough to tow your house, barn, and the neighbor's tractor all at once. The aftermarket is massive, so if you want to turn it into a fire-breathing beast, you've got options galore. We've seen these engines pull 30,000-pound loads up mountain passes without breaking a sweat. Keep it happy with clean oil changes every 7,500 miles, fresh fuel filters, and occasional EGR and DPF cleaning if you're running a newer model with emissions gear. Watch for turbo actuator issues on some years. But that's a small price for this kind of power. Reportedly, there is an owner in Oklahoma who's got a 2008 Ram 3500 with over 600,000 miles on the original Cummins, still hauls cattle every day. If you want to tow the world and never look back, the 6.7-liter Cummins is your engine. Ask any Ford guy worth his salt about the 7.3-liter Powerstroke V8 diesel, and you'll hear the same thing. They don't make them like they used to. This engine, found in Super Duty Fords like the F250 and F350 from 1994 to 2003, is the million-mile marvel of the diesel world. It's the definition of bulletproof, and it's got a cult following for a reason. The 7.3-liter is overbuilt in all the right ways, with a cast iron block, forged steel rods, and a simple direct injection system that don't mess around with fancy electronics. It ain't the most powerful diesel out there, topping out at about 275 horsepower and 525 pound-feet of torque, but it's hands down the most reliable. These engines routinely hit 400,000 to 500,000 miles, and there are plenty out there with 1 million on the clock, still running like the day they rolled off the lot. We've seen them in everything from work trucks to family haulers, taking a beating and asking for more. Maintenance is straightforward. Change the oil, keep the fuel filter clean, and replace the cam position sensor when it goes, because that's the one weak spot. That's about it. These engines will run forever if you take care of them. An owner in Montana who's got a 99 F350 with over 800,000 miles, original engine, still tows his horse trailer every weekend. If you want a diesel that'll outlast the body around it, the 7.3-liter Powerstroke is the one to get. There you have it. Top picks for the 5 worst and 5 best truck engines to own. From the heartbreakers that'll leave you stranded to the legends that'll keep on rolling long after you've retired, these engines can make or break your truck owning experience. If you're shopping for a used rig, keep this list in your back pocket. It might just save you a heap of trouble and a whole lot of cash. On the other hand, it might lead you to the most satisfying truck owning lifestyle, with the right purchase, of course. Did I miss your favorite or least favorite engine? Do you agree or even disagree? We listen your opinions and feedback, which gives more food for thought. Not every engine will experience issues or breakdowns, but some more so than others. Just remember to do your homework, get a pre-purchase inspection, and budget for maintenance. Got a story about a truck that saved your bacon or burned a hole in your wallet? Drop a comment below and let me know. I look at every single one. We'd love to hear your stories, real-world experiences, insider secrets, and helpful advice for fellow viewers and audiences. And if you found this video helpful, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button, then ring the bell so you don't miss the next one. I've got plenty more truck tips, tricks, and breakdowns coming your way. This is Tom from Seats and Wheels. Thanks for watching.